Good afternoon, everybody. It's that time of week again. It is time for the weekly video blog. I want to first start off by saying, hope everybody who is a mom had a very nice Mother's Day. And we're going to be talking today about short sales and how they actually work. A lot of first-time home buyers are still looking into short sales. Our inventory, unfortunately, still does have quite a few of them. So I want to talk about the different kind of short sales that there actually are and the process that goes along with them. There is actually two kinds of short sales. Sorry. We have our newest addition who likes to be in my lap. My apologies. So we have a few different kinds of short sales. That there is an approved short sale. And what an approved short sale means, the price that it is listed for is actually a price that the bank has already agreed to take. It usually means that there was a previous offer that was submitted to the bank, denied, and they came back with a counter, and that it would be what they were willing to accept. The good thing about an approved short sale is it has already taken the first step out of the process for you. Now, even on an approved short sale, they will still have to send your offer up and have an approval done specifically for yours, but you know what price they're looking for. So you're not just blindly putting in an offer not knowing what they're willing or not willing to accept. The second kind of short sale is, of course, the one that is not approved. That means that it has not had any offers that made it up to the bank. Sometimes you will find expired listings that were an approved short sale, and then when they're relisted, they're no longer an approved short sale. It's because the bank changed what they were willing to accept, and they have not gotten back to the new listing agent. With an unapproved short sale, it means they're still going to require paperwork from the homeowner. Now, one thing that a lot of people do not know about short sales, when they submit an offer on one, it actually first must be approved by the homeowner. The reason why is because if you come in too low and they know what the bank is looking for, they can pretty much give you a heads up and say, well, we can't accept that because we don't believe the bank will. But it's a step that not a lot of people realize that needs to take place. So step one, putting in an offer on a unapproved short sale, it does have to go through the homeowner first. They have the right to accept, reject, and or counter your offer. Always remember, when you are putting in an offer on a short sale, you should make sure that it is an educated offer. I find sometimes buyers will put in an offer and I say, well, how did you come up with the offer you wanted to put in? And they said, well, that's just what we were willing to pay. You should be working with a buyer's broker who will take the time, pull the comparables in the area, because the bank is looking to get market value. A lot of people assume that when it's a short sale, it means that you can go in considerably lower. That's not always the case. There's a lot of short sales that are left on the market that are actually being very well maintained by the homeowners that are there, and it isn't in a dilapidated condition. And that means the bank is really going to want a certain value. I also want to clear up what a short sale actually is, because I'm finding a lot of the buyers that are starting their search now say, well, a short sale is somebody that just stopped paying their mortgage. And that's actually not the case. There is actually programs, because of the fact that some people who short sale their home do it simply because they could no longer afford to keep it because they had a change in circumstance in their life. Sometimes they lost their job, they lost a loved one, and they really just can't afford to carry the house on their own anymore. And they're still making their mortgage payments. Although they're struggling to, they are making them. So don't assume when you go into a short sale that the person has just stopped caring about their home and isn't paying, because I would say in 80% of the cases, that is actually not the case. They're still struggling. They're trying to make those payments. So be fair and be reasonable when you put in an offer on a short sale. And again, if you're working with a buyer's broker, they should be guiding you on what kind of offer to put in and what fair market value on a home actually is. Now, when you're going into a short sale that's been left vacant, that the homeowner has walked away from, is where it gets a little bit different. You have to, again, remember with these, just because it cosmetically may not look pretty, because the yards usually become a little bit overgrown and things like that, it does not mean that the bank is going to drop the price $50,000 because nobody's cut the grass in the past 6 months. If there are things missing in the home like heating, plumbing, one, you want to reconfirm with your agent and your mortgage broker what your bank needs the home to have in order to qualify, because in a short sale, The bank is not going to do anything to it. The home is really as is, and that does include anything that the old homeowners left behind. The bank is not going to come in and clear out that house for you. So you have to be prepared if there's a large amount of garbage, if the yard is severely overgrown. Those are things you should take into account and make sure it's something that you're willing and able to do, because the bank is not going to. I also am asked a lot, how come people take so long to go into foreclosure? And it's just because there is a lot of short sales in the market, and they haven't gotten to that process yet. We have also gotten much stricter as far as the court guidelines for them to go into foreclosure, to make sure that they're properly put into foreclosure so that you don't run into any obstacles. Another side note about short sales, a few of the things that you can ask your buyer's agent to find out for you is how long it's been on the market. If it's been on for 2 or 3 years, that might show that they owed a lot on it, but you can also have your buyer's agent pull up what the lis pendens on the house is, and that tells you what the bank is owed, not what they're willing to accept, but what they're owed, and that'll give you an idea of what kind of loss they're actually taking, which sometimes will put into perspective why they're asking 250 for a house. Well, if the lis pendens on it is 450, somebody obviously did quite a few refis and they're more than a little upside down in their house. So putting in an offer of 250 at reasonable market value at least gives you a better chance, because you put in an educated offer. Another thing that your buyer's agent can find out for you is how many banks are involved. If there is more than one bank, the process does become a little bit harder, because not only do you need to get the bank to agree, you have to get two banks to agree, and they have to agree on how they're splitting the proceeds. Another side note about short sales is you cannot do a seller's concession on them. It will red flag in the bank because it looks like there's more money being profited than there actually is. So if you're looking into a short sale, you should be ready to have your closing costs, because a seller's concession can sometimes throw a little bit of a kink into the deal. Because this is a very complicated process, I am actually going to be writing my written blog about it this week as well. So be sure to check it out. And if you have any other questions, as always, either comment on here on the patch or on YouTube, either one, and I will get back to you. This way, if you have a specific question about short sales that I haven't answered, I can get you the answer. All right, happy house hunting, and I'll see everybody next week.